Hey fellow woodworkers, I really miss being with you guys, and I hope that so far everything is well and everybody's feeling good. Now I've talked to Miss Holly and Miss Erin, and so it looks like we'll be getting back to classes this fall. But I thought in the meantime it would be fun to do a project together. Meaning basically right now, because we can't meet, that I would do a project and I would walk you through all the steps of what I do. So for example, the project we're going to do is called a set of cable management boxes. So they're going to go under someone's desk, and all the different cables that come in and that go back up to your devices, these will kind of tame all of those and get them in one place. But they want to do something that's decorative and it kind of fits their decor. So they've asked me if I would build them for them, and I've agreed to do so. And I'm going to video this series as we do it. So we're going to start with design, and then from there we'll pick out our materials, which I've already kind of done at least some of it. You're going to help me with some of it. And then we're going to go over and do the milling. So we're going to focus on those things to begin with, and then as we get in we'll talk about joinery and glue and everything finished right up to when they're ready to be delivered. So let's begin by talking about design. Okay, so let's talk about the design of our box. So I know from the customer already that the dimensions they want to work with on the inside is they want it to be 12 inches long, 5 inches high, and 4 inches wide. So I made a rectangle here so we could see that I want it 12 inches on the inside, 5 inches high on the inside, and then also over here I want it 4 inches wide on the inside. I couldn't put that up in there. And then 5 inches high. So that's an end view, and this is a side view. So now I have to determine what my dimensions of my wood are going to be overall, because this is my interior dimensions, but it does not include the thickness of the wood. So every piece of wood has thickness, and this is the thickness of the wood. Now this is about 3/4 of an inch thick. It's really too thick for what we want to do. So I've decided we're going to use 3/8 inch material. And one of the reasons is that will allow us to resaw a board so we get more yield out of the board and we don't use as much wood. Because wood's a precious commodity, we want to make sure that we take good care of what we have. So we use that type of a technique as often as we can. It also gives us what we call a book match, and you'll see that when we get to that part. But anyway, so with 3/8 inch thick material, what I have to remember is if I want it 12 inches on the inside, I have to add 3/8 of an inch here and 3/8 of an inch here. So my length is going to be 12 inches plus 3/8 of an inch twice. Now 3/8 of an inch twice is 3/4 of an inch. So we know that that has to be at least 12 3/4 of an inch for our length. Now that may change depending on joinery, but it won't become any less than that. It may become a little bit more. Now the same will be true for here. If we want 4 inches inside, we have to include 3/8 inches here and here. So same thing again. So now we're going to have 4 3/4 inches. Now we still have to deal with our height. The only thing that will change our height is not the thickness of the wood, but the thickness of the bottom. So if I want it 5 inches high on the inside, but I want to have a 1/2 inch thick bottom, then I need to take that into account. So that's probably what we're going to start with thinking about. That would be the thickest bottom I would put. We may go into a smaller bottom, but we'll take a look at that. So let's go ahead and call the bottom then 5 1/2 inches, because we have to make up for that 1/2 inch. So those are the dimensions we're going to work with, and that will get us a start. So we've gotten our plan made. Now the next step is to choose our wood. Okay, so it's time to choose some wood. Now, one of the most important things is, do you have the wood in stock? Of course, you can go to the lumber supplier. I go to the lumber supplier. It's about an hour, 15 minutes away or so over in a little town called Concord, Georgia. He's my favorite hardwood dealer. He has a great selection, but if I don't have to go, and especially for a project this small, I mean, it's only, going to be 13 inches. It's not really a big project, even though I'm building 2 of them. I have lots of options. This is cherry. This is one of my favorite woods to work with, and I have plenty of this on hand. Although I do have another project I want to use some of this on, I have plenty to do it if I want to use cherry. Now this reddish wood is called sapelli, and sapelli is from South America, and it's a dense wood. It's really pretty, very reddish, as you can see. I have plenty of that in stock. This is walnut. Walnut is one of my favorite woods to work with. It's very expensive now because it's hard to get for some reason. But I do have enough of this as well. And then this is zebra wood. Now this is really wild, isn't it? But anyway, zebra wood is beautiful, but it's a very nice wood, and it's an exotic wood, so I only use it for accents or something. We could consider it maybe for the top, and any of these woods we could choose for the top. I decided for this particular project I want to use ash. Now, let me move everything here. I'll learn to do better with video, I promise. But this is ash, and it's a very straight-grained wood. Now, you do have some cathedrals in here because of the way it grew. But it's a very straight-grained wood. It's a hard wood, but it's a nice wood for working with. So, this is what I've chosen for a couple of reasons. One is because, well, I just have a lot of it in stock. But I had this piece left over, and I did some measuring, and I've got enough here in this one piece to do both of the bottoms, because this is the last thing I want to talk about, and this is part of the design. I'm sorry, I just saw my dog chasing a squirrel. Anyway, there are 2 different kinds of cuts when it comes to woodworking. You have a cross cut. A cross cut obviously goes across the grain. It's across the grain. It's a cross cut. The other is, if you want to go lengthwise, is called a rip cut. A rip cut. You're ripping off a section. What I'm going to do with this piece of ash, because it's thick enough, is I'm going to cut it this way. What that will do is called resawing. And what that will do is when I open it up, the boards will match perfectly. So we'll use that grain feature as we design the box. We'd like to have a continuous grain all the way around the box, so it's really cool looking. So we're going to use this ash that I've got right here. So the next thing is I'm going to do some milling. So I need to go over to the jointer and make it flat, and then make it have 2 parallel surfaces. After that, I will do another video and send it to you and let you know where things are at. You'll have some voting to do in the future. So I hope you've enjoyed this, and I will get better at doing video. I'm new at this, but thank you for tuning in, and I will see you in the next lesson. Get out there and make some sawdust.